The rich bully used his connections to get Noah expelled from the army. But he was shocked when 2 months later, Noah returned as the country's deadliest soldier. But before any of that happened, Noah was just a skinny recruit being laughed at in a training camp as he faced bully Miller, a 6'5" legacy recruit raised in private military academies. They were competing for a place in the Phantom Rangers, the Liberty Nation's most lethal special operations unit. No one expected the outcome to be close. The task was simple: 500 meters of obstacles in full gear, then immediate field assembly and a live shot at 300 meters. Miller finished the course, dropped to the table, built his rifle, and struck the center of the target before Noah reached the final wall.
Time!
The instructor called.
Thorne, you're done.
Noah stood still, shame rising hot in his face. Miller walked over with a smirk and kicked mud onto Noah's boots.
Pathetic. Go back to catching fish in your daddy's pond, you hillbilly faggot. Didn't you hear me? This is an elite regiment. We come from good families, strong bloodlines. We don't need a hunter's bad blood, a stray dog messing up our formation.
Something in Noah hardened.
Apologize right now.
Miller stepped forward and swung. Noah ducked underneath the punch and drove his palm across Miller's jaw. The crack carried across the drill yard. Conversations died. Miller staggered back, clutching his face, shock wide in his eyes.
My family taught me how to hunt predators, not bullies.
2 hours later, Noah stood at attention in Colonel Vance's office.
You have a hell of a right hand, Thorne,
Vance said, reading from the file.
but you have 0 brains.
He insulted my family, sir.
And you assaulted a superior officer's nephew.
The file snapped shut.
Miller's uncle is a senator. Do you know what that means?
Noah remained silent.
It means you're done. You'll face a council to formalize the court-martial. You're stripped of rank and barred from reinstatement until further notice.
Rain fell steadily outside the administration building. Noah stood under the overhang, packing his bag. The Phantom Ranger badge had been the reason he left the North. Without it, the years behind him felt empty. Long before the uniform, he had lived deep in the Yukon Basin with a small hunting tribe that survived without roads, power, or machines. When he was 15, mercenaries hired by an oil company came at dawn. They burned the settlement and drove the people out without warning. That night, beside the river, he made a promise to his mother.
I'm leaving this life. I'll go to the city. I'll join the army. One day, I'll come back as a Phantom Ranger. No one will ever hurt us again.
3 years later, he stood in boot camp, thousands of miles from the snow. His field instincts set him apart, but the military had its own hierarchy, and Noah stood at the bottom of it. He saved every spare dollar and sent it home. His uniform stayed clean, but his boots were secondhand, and the rest of the recruits taunted him for it at every opportunity. Noah ignored it all. Until today. He closed his bag and stepped toward the gate, ready to disappear back into the wilderness he came from.
Cadet Thorne!
A clerk ran toward him through the rain, breathing hard.
The commander wants you in the briefing room.
Noah turned and followed him. Inside the room, at the head of the long table, sat the regiment commander, a stern man with gray hair. Flanking the table were the squad leaders, the captains and lieutenants of the various units. These were the gatekeepers of Noah's future. Noah stood at attention, his heart hammering like a trapped bird.
At ease.
The commander said, looking over a file.
We reviewed your file, Thorne. You struck a fellow soldier. That is a violation of protocol. Technically, you are still expelled from the Ranger track. You cannot return to your original platoon. But
the commander looked up.
Your ethical evaluation score is the highest I've seen in 10 years. You possess a moral compass most of these men lack. So I am giving you a second chance. Not as a Ranger trainee, but as a regular infantryman.
The commander turned to the room full of officers.
Noah Thorne needs a squad. He is rough around the edges, socially awkward, and comes from nothing. But his field scores are perfect. Who wants him?
Silence filled the room. The officers looked at Noah with disdain. They saw the scuffed boots. They saw the intense, wild look in his eyes. They knew his reputation as the poor kid who got into trouble.
Pass.
said the leader of Alpha Squad.
I need team players, not wild hunters.
Pass.
Said Bravo Squad.
He's a liability.
One by one, they rejected him. The shame burned Noah's face. He was being auctioned off, and no one was buying. He clenched his fists, preparing for the final dismissal until...
I'll take him.
The voice came from the far corner of the room. A man in a slightly wrinkled uniform stood up. He was older than the others, with a kind face that looked weary from years of service. It was Captain Carter Johnson. The commander raised an eyebrow.
Captain Carter, you want Thorne?
I do, sir.
Carter said, walking forward. He didn't look at Noah's boots. He looked Noah in the eye.
I've watched him on the range. He doesn't fight for points. He fights to survive. I see a fighter in him, and God knows my squad could use a fighter.
A ripple of laughter went through the room.
Of course Carter takes him.
The Alpha leader whispered loudly.
The regiment of failures adds another loser to the pile.
Perfect match.
Another sneered.
The washout captain and the savage caveman.
The criticism was open and cruel. Carter's squad was known as the dumping ground for soldiers who had no political connections or ambition. But Carter ignored them. He signed the transfer papers with a steady hand.
Pack your gear, Thorne.
Carter said softly.
We're moving out in 6 hours.
Just then, an emergency call came to the council that shook everyone. Secret intel had come in that a group of mercenaries had joined forces with a traitor. This traitor had stolen highly secure files from the Pentagon and was about to cross the border with the mercenaries. If he wasn't stopped, it would mean great danger for the country. There was panic all around. The commander ordered the troops to relocate to the border. The North Cascades outpost didn't appear on most military maps. It was a punishment posting, a place where careers went to freeze to death. On the train ride up, Noah sat in silence, watching the forests blur past the glass. Carter noticed and remarked,
I failed.
Noah sighed.
I promised my family I'd be a Phantom Ranger. Now it's all over.
A title is just a patch on your shoulder. A Phantom Ranger fights for glory. A real soldier fights for the man standing next to him. I was an outcast like you. They tried to send me home. But look who stayed back for all the fun.
He placed a hand on Noah's shoulder. Firm, warm.
Those officers didn't trust you because they couldn't control you. They didn't see your value, but I did. You have good instincts, Noah. You have a good heart. To me, that's worth more than a shiny badge. Now let's gear up. We have a country to protect.
Since the mercenaries burned his home, no one had looked at Noah with kindness. Something shifted in him then. The ambition to be a Phantom Ranger flickered and died, replaced by something quieter and stronger.
Thank you, Captain. I won't let you down.
They trekked for days until they finally reached the outpost. Dark clouds swirled overhead as the temperature dropped. Then through the cold, the outpost emerged. Old Glory snapped in the wind above a lonely station, guarding the ancient northern trail. 3 soldiers stood watch in the tower. The rest were in the warm, dimly lit kitchen when the voice came from the window.
It's about to rain any minute now. Damn this weather. It's been raining ever since we got here.
This was Jacob Costanza, the second in command, a man built entirely from anxiety. Carter laughed, turning to Costanza.
You're second in command, Costanza. Stop staring at the clouds like a poet. Go get a raincoat if you're scared of a little water.
It's not the water. I was thinking about my son today. It's his birthday next week. He's turning 7.
Last time you talked about him, he was 5. Time flies when you're rotting on a mountain.
I missed his last 2 birthdays. Before I joined, I didn't care. I was a selfish man. Now, all I want is to hear my kid laugh. I want to argue with my wife about the dishes. I want the boring stuff. But I'm afraid I can never go back from this place.
Carter laughed, breaking the tension.
You're a soft city boy, Costanza. That's why you're here with the regiment of failures. But don't worry, I've got enough fire for both of us. I might be old, but I can still wrestle a bear if I have to.
The men chuckled. This was a regular routine.
Speaking of bears, where's the kid? Where's Noah? Shouldn't he be back from the commissary by now? It's getting pitch black out there.
Don't worry about Noah. He may be a new recruit, but no wolf or tiger could mess with that one. He grew up in Alaska. This weather is probably a beach vacation for him.
Noah had arrived stamped with a disgraced label, poor and quiet. They had mocked him at first, but he took it all with a smile, and somewhere along the way they had stopped laughing at him and started looking out for him. When he was sick with the flu in his first month, Costanza had sat by his bunk all night making sure his fever went down. When Noah's boots wore out, Carter had ordered a new pair in Noah's size and left them on his bed. Once the food was ready, Dave set the plates down. Everyone prayed. Then the window shattered. A small, dark object spun across the flour-covered table and wobbled to a stop. A grenade. Costanza screamed, thinking of his son. Dave froze. Carter lunged for the table to shield his men. The blast swallowed the outpost whole. 10 minutes of heavy fighting, then silence. Charred corpses across burning ground. The mercenary captain walked through what remained and stopped in front of Benjamin White. "Didn't you say your Liberty Nation was an impenetrable fortress, Mr. White? Look how easily our Bloodwolf mercenaries smuggled you right across the border. We burned your little outpost to a crisp in minutes." White stared at the bodies and laughed.
Of course, you did your job well. Now we just need to cross the border and take down everything that stands in our way. Just like your people took down a Phantom Rangers special force of 30 fully trained officers.
2 miles west, Noah walked the muddy trail beside a wagon piled high with flour, canned vegetables, and the special cheese Carter had requested. The closer he got, the heavier the silence became. No lights, no sentry, only the quiet of a graveyard. Noah entered the kitchen and fell to his knees beside Carter. He turned him over. The man that had smiled at him just yesterday was gone. Jacob, Dave, all of them. The communication lines were destroyed. Noah was alone on the mountain with nothing but the dead.
I'm sorry. I wasn't here. I should have been here.
He looked at Carter one last time. Then the grief in his chest began to harden, cooling into something far more dangerous.
Commander. Brothers.
His voice trembled with a dark and quiet promise.
I swear to you, I will hunt them down, every single one of them, until I avenge you. I am not worthy to be called a soldier. I am not worthy to be called a man.
He moved through the ruins to the armory. The Series 95 rifle on the rack had its barrel bent and destroyed. The shelves were bare. No bullets, no grenades. The killers had taken everything. Noah stood in the wreckage, alone, holding nothing but a blood-stained machete and a promise he intended to keep. That's when a dull explosion echoed from the west. Noah's head snapped up. Someone was still out there. He didn't hesitate. He grabbed a piece of paper, scribbled a quick note for any reinforcements, and pinned it down with a spent casing. Then, he walked out into the rain. He walked past his horse, Rocket.
Go home, boy,
he murmured, not looking back.
I'm going where you can't follow.
He marched into the dark forest, crossing the invisible line that marked the border. He knew what this meant. If he was caught, he would be a prisoner of war. He would be branded a rogue. But titles didn't matter anymore. 2 gunshots shattered the rhythm of the rain. Noah threw himself behind a thick oak tree. Ahead, through the gloom, he saw a shadow dive and roll. A split second later, 3 bullets tore up the earth exactly where the figure had been standing. Someone was fighting for their life. Noah gripped his machete. He didn't know who was fighting. He crept forward, and he peered around a tree, scanning for the shooter. Instead, he found a gun barrel in his face.
Move, and you die.
The voice was female, cold as ice and hard as iron. Noah froze. He looked up, past the muzzle of the handgun, into a pair of terrifying eyes. She was tall, powerful, and radiating an aura of violence that made Noah's knees weak.
Don't shoot,
Noah stammered, raising his hands.
I'm on your side. United States.
She looked at his standard issue uniform. She lowered the gun slightly, but the tension didn't leave her body.
ID number? Name? Unit?
She demanded. Before Noah could answer, he saw a glint of metal in the bush behind her 300 yards out. A sniper scope.
Get down!
Noah didn't think. He lunged at her, tackling her waist and driving them both into the mud. A bullet slammed into the tree right where her head had been a second ago. Splinters rained down on them.
Get off me!
The woman snarled. She didn't thank him. She kicked him in the chest, hard. Noah flew backward, crashing into a tree trunk. He gasped, clutching his ribs, looking up in shock. The woman was already up. She slid behind cover just as 3 more bullets chewed up the ground where they had fallen.
You clumsy idiot!
She hissed at him from behind her tree.
You almost got me killed with that tackle!
Noah wheezed, trying to catch his breath.
I am sorry.
You exposed my position!
She shot back. She peeked out, fired a single round, and ducked back.
Stay down, rookie. Don't try to be a hero. You clearly aren't built for it.
Noah felt the insult burn deeper than the kick. She was right. He had failed the Ranger trials. He had been sent to the border because he was useless. And now, even when he tried to help, he was just in the way. Another shot rang out. This time, the bullet grazed the woman's cover, pinning her down. She checked her magazine. She was running low.
Great.
She muttered, glaring at Noah across the gap between their trees.
I'm pinned down by a sniper team, and my backup is a border guard who looks like he's going to throw up.
I can help,
Noah said, his voice trembling.
Help?
She laughed, a cruel, sharp sound.
Look at you. You're shaking. I don't know why they allow men like you in the army. What are you going to do? Throw rocks at them?
Noah looked at his empty hands. Then he looked at the machete on his belt. No, that was too big for this range. Then he remembered. In his boot. The TriStar blade. Commander Carter had given it to him. The sniper fired again. The woman flinched. She was trapped. She had no angle. If she moved, she would die. If she stayed, she would die. Noah looked at the position of the sniper. He couldn't see the man, but he saw the muzzle flash. 15 meters away, hidden in a dense thicket. That's when Noah burst from behind the tree.
No!
The woman screamed.
You suicidal fool!
Noah didn't run toward the enemy. He ran toward her. As he sprinted, he reached into his boot. He planted his foot, twisted his hips, and whipped his arm forward. The TriStar blade left his hand. It whistled through the air, curving slightly around the trunk of the massive oak tree the woman was using for cover. It disappeared into the darkness of the thicket. For a second, there was silence. The woman stared at him, her mouth open in shock.
What was that? You missed by a mile.
Then, from the thicket 15 meters away, came a wet, gurgling sound. A heavy thud followed as a body fell from a tree perch, hitting the ground. The sniper fire stopped. The female soldier slowly stood up. She looked at the dead sniper in the distance, then back at Noah. Her eyes were wide, the arrogance replaced by total confusion.
That's impossible.
She whispered. She walked over to the sniper's position. The blade was buried deep in the man's throat. She turned back to Noah. He was leaning against a tree, trying to stop his hands from shaking. He looked like a boy who had lost his way.
Who are you?
She asked, her voice losing its edge. Noah looked up. His eyes were haunted.
I'm nobody,
he said softly. The woman holstered her weapon, looking at him with intensity. But this nobody had just done something a Phantom Ranger would struggle to replicate. Noah didn't even look back at the woman. He walked over to the tree, placed a boot against the tree, and yanked his TriStar blade out of the dead man's throat.
Hey!
The female soldier called out.
Did you hear me? That throw. I've never seen anything like it. You just saved my life.
Noah ignored her. He slid the blade back into his boot and turned toward the dark, dense tree line.
I don't have time for this. My squad is dead. I have work to do.
I have a mission too,
she said.
and I can't do it alone. My backup is gone. I need you.
Noah let out a bitter, dry laugh.
Look at me.
Noah spat.
I'm a reject. I'm the guy who couldn't assemble a rifle. I can't even hold a gun without shaking. You want a partner? Go find a real soldier. I'm just a savage with a knife.
He turned to leave again, but her next words stopped him.
But you have the eyes of a hawk and the confidence of a born assassin. I don't need a soldier who follows orders. I need a hunter.
She stepped closer to his back.
I can fix your aim. I can teach you breathing. I can make you a phantom ranger, Noah. But I can't teach a man how to have the guts you just showed.
Noah's long-lost dream finally came to some light.
Why do you care?
Noah whispered.
Because the man I'm chasing is Benjamin White,
she said.
He's moving with a convoy of mercenaries. He has the stolen files from the Pentagon, and he is heading for the border crossing.
Noah slowly turned around.
White? The traitor?
The same man who likely ordered the hit on your outpost.
She confirmed, seeing the recognition in his eyes.
We have a common enemy, but we are running out of time.
She checked her watch.
He crosses into neutral territory in exactly 24 hours. If he crosses that line, the secrets he carries will destroy this nation. We have 24 hours to catch him, or it's all over.
How will this female soldier train a rejected soldier to become a phantom warrior? How will two lone soldiers stop a traitor protected by an entire army of mercenaries in less than 24 hours? To find out what happens next, start listening to The Wild Warrior, only on the Pocket FM app. Download now for free.